So in this video, I want to talk about what I see in the near future for Sword and Shield booster boxes and what I think is going to happen with the prices. So recently we had the TCGPlayer sale, and before the TCGPlayer sale, I kind of came up with like two different scenarios of what could possibly come out of it with Sword and Shield booster boxes. One, it could be like, in my opinion, the last leg up for Sword and Shield booster boxes before they sort of stagnate. Or the second option could be that nothing happens to the prices because a lot of people are going to list and it'll just cancel out, I guess, the large amount of sales on the sales day. And it was the second option. I made a video talking about the aftermath of the TCGPlayer sale, how for Sword and Shield boxes, really none of them went up. Honestly, a lot of the prices actually went down for a lot of the boxes. So nothing really that crazy. There was a lot of sales volume for some of these boxes, but the prices didn't go up at all. So yeah, just nothing has really happened with that sale for these Sword and Shield booster boxes. So now that we're after the sale and possibly that sale could have drove prices up, which it didn't. What do I see with these Sword and Shield boxes in the near future? So, like I said in my first, like sort of thinking that this sale could possibly be the last leg up after stagnation. I think since we're after the sale and prices didn't go up, I think we are sort of at that point now of stagnation. And the reason why I really believe that is just based on what happened before. So, if you guys were in, or looking and paying attention to the Sword and Shield market late last year, the exact same thing happened. I mean, a lot of these boxes in the low 200s, like Lost Origin, Fusion Strike, Chilling Reign, they were like 220 to 240. And within the span of like a week, Lost Origin, Chilling Reign, they went up to $400. Fusion Strike went up to $500 in like a span of a week. The exact same thing as what's happened here. But what happened after the craziness with the Sword and Shield boxes going crazy? Well, after that huge price jump, um, Sword and Shield slowly sales started to drop off because more people were listing at those price points. They were much higher. Some people were trying to take some profits and stuff, and it going up that crazily. Less people started to buy. Then we started to see Sword and Shield, go back sort of to its dormant state before, where it wasn't crazy anymore because it was like a week of craziness, and then the prices skyrocketed, and then after it started to slow down, and that's just to be expected, right? And Sword and Shield, after that, remained dormant for months. Like I said, that happened late last year, and just a few weeks ago, Sword and Shield, out of nowhere, just came up, started going crazy again. I do believe this sort of happened because, recently we've gotten a lot of restocks, some reprints of newer sets. Possibly some people, maybe some groups of people were like, hey, we should all just go and buy these Sword and Shield boxes because for the price of some of these Sword and Shield boxes, it makes sense to buy these, versus these Scarlet and Violet boxes because these Scarlet and Violet boxes could get reprinted. I could spend like $100 more, get an out of print box. I'm going to do that. And then things just took off. It was literally just one day where all this, Sword and Shield booster boxes across the board, there was an increase in sales. And after that day, everyone started talking about it. A lot of news. Then people just started buying them up, and we hit some crazy price points, and we saw crazy growth in a very short period of time within like a week. Basically, the exact same thing happened last year, and it happened again. Now, I do also think, I guess with this being the exact same situation last time, in addition to that, we're also going into the summer, and there's also this talk that, summer Pokemon sales go down. And the reason for that being is that people are, maybe going on vacation, taking off from work, and not really like paying attention to Pokemon, where Pokemon maybe like sometimes during the winter when people are staying inside, they buy more Pokemon stuff and do those sorts of hobbies. Those are some things that people have talked about. I think this time could be a little bit different, possibly with this market we're in now, where possibly during the summer sales might be still extremely strong. But if that sort of theory, if you're also using that and saying that that's a true thing too, I think there is just a lot of reasons why then Sword and Shield booster boxes probably in the near future here, at least in my opinion, are not really going to skyrocket anymore. I think we're over the craziness, the week of prices going crazy, Fusion Strike going from like 500 to like 900, and some of these other boxes going from like like mid 300s, high 300s to like $500, $600. I feel like that's kind of over, especially since the outcome of that sale didn't drive prices up even further, and a lot of these prices have actually slightly dipped since reaching their all-time highs. I don't see these going up much in the near future. Will we see another time, maybe at the end of the year or something where these go crazy again? I think that's possible. But I don't think we're going to see another week where prices double again for some of these boxes or go up 50%. I think that's sort of it. I really think in the next month or two, if my I guess prediction here is correct, with Sword and Shield boxes not really going to skyrocket here in the near future. And honestly, I think they're probably going to go back to more of a dormant state. And I do feel like Scarlet and Violet, it's it's already rising in price, even further now. I feel like it's going to take the spotlight again, and Sword and Shield is going to go back to its dormant state. I think in the next few weeks to a month, like I said, if my whole theory is correct and Sword and Shield goes back to its dormant state, I think you will be able to get some of these Sword and Shield boxes at a slight discount. I think prices will dip a little bit for some of these boxes because they already are. And if the hype isn't around Sword and Shield anymore, I think more people will list these because they're going to be taking profits at this new price point. So I do think Sword and Shield, now that things aren't going crazy, or at least it seems like it's sort of cooled down and sort of stopped, could be possibly a good time if you were maybe waiting to buy or whatever during this crazy time when things were skyrocketing. It could be a time to buy when things aren't crazy again, because honestly, in the grand scheme of things, a lot of these Sword and Shield boxes still are not that expensive. Yes, they have gone up. Like some of these were used to be in 300s, now like 400. Some of them are 500. They're still, in my opinion, good pickups long term. At $400 or $500, I think they're still fine. And like I said, next few weeks, couple months, you may be able to find some deals for these if the market just stays dormant for Sword and Shield. So just want to show you guys some of these prices here for these boxes. Talk about where they were before and where they're at now, and how a lot of the prices have actually dipped a little bit since reaching their all-time highs. So first here is Chilling Reign. Now Chilling Reign never actually hit 500. I don't think so. I think it was in the high 400s. But now you are able to pick them up in the lower 400s, so they've dropped a little bit. And you will notice, it's not a big deal, but in the past few days, and you can just see, I guess, other than this TCGPlayer sale, the craziness and everything, it has, slowly, you can just see this with all the boxes here, started to taper off. It was literally just this sale where things went crazy. But a lot of more supply has been added for these boxes, and looking at sales volume and how things have been going, I don't see these going up and hitting, like for example, Chilling Reign for like $500. I don't see it really happening, at least anytime soon. I feel like more supply is going to be added to the market, and if sales volume stays the same way, where not much is being sold, I think these could go down a little bit more. Evolving Skies, not really much to say. The sale didn't do anything because I don't think the sale really applied to it, so nothing much to say here. Fusion Strike at one point seemingly was going to hit $1,000 because there's literally like two boxes in between, like 800 and like 1,000. It was pretty crazy, but the sale didn't do anything because I don't think the sale applied. And you can just see a lot more supply has just been added for all these boxes here. You can see a lot are under 900. This next page they do go up like close to 1,000, but looking at the sales volume of Fusion Strike, you can just see just all of these across the board in the past like couple weeks. Like the craziness was here. It's sort of slowly fading away. Brilliant Stars at one point was going to hit, I think it did hit like $500. It was like 490 lowest listed. Now lowest listed is 430. You can see here the sale on this day, 20 sold. Past few days nothing really sold, but you can just see a lot more boxes. A lot of these boxes, some of them were so close to hitting like crazy prices, but a lot of supply has been added, as you can see here. And I think part of these are just I guess listings from people that were listing because of the sale. And I feel like that's why we are seeing some of these prices now a lot lower than what they used to be. Because like I said, you can go back to some of my videos before the TCGPlayer sale. Pretty sure Brilliant Stars at one point was $500. Next here's Astral. So Astral at one point was basically like at 500. It was very, very close. It was like a few boxes away. But now they're at 425. There has been a good amount of supply also added to the market here, and you can just see also with the chart here. one day here with the TCG player sale, but since the skyrocketing and everything, sales have been slowing down, and we're not really seeing that anymore. With the craziness, it's just across the board. A lot of these boxes, just sales volume has sort of decreased, and a lot of these prices have gone down. Lost Origin at one point hit 600, now lowest listed at 340, or it's at 540. You can see here this did see a huge increase in sales on this day. Past few days, I guess there's not much data since the sale because it's literally been a few days since the sale, but you can see things started to dip off. Could possibly also be because of the anticipation of the sale where people weren't buying anymore. But when prices really started skyrocketing, you did see a sort of noticeable decrease in sales. But here you can see like there is a good amount of these under like 600, but it could possibly still hit it if because Lost Origin is honestly one of the standouts from Sword and Shield in terms of like sales volume that I noticed, where it was pretty consistently selling throughout this period. But a lot of these boxes overall I don't really see going up just based on what I'm looking at here, where a lot of these prices have dropped a little bit and sales volume doesn't seem to be as strong. Silver Tempest never hit 400. It's always sort of been in the mid to high 300s. You can see here sales volume on this day increased. Past couple of days, there's like one box sold every single day. And since the skyrocketing here, you can see sales volume sort of decreased. And I just think Sword and Shield right now is probably not going to skyrocket in the near future, because I think it already has, and I think it will go into a little bit of a dormant stage. But we'll see what happens. But I think Sword and Shield sort of is at its tail end of the craziness, and I do think a lot of the Scarlet and Violet stuff is going to be getting a lot of attention here because things are starting to move with Scarlet and Violet. So those are my opinions about Sword and Shield and what I think is going to happen to the prices in the near future. I think we're over the craziness, and I feel like these are just going to be the new prices. We may see some slight dips in the next couple months during the summer, but I don't think prices are going to go down a ton. But I think they will slightly dip a little bit more, possibly. But hey, it could just be a good time to buy them when the market's not crazy, because I do think we'll see probably another period where these go through craziness. I'm thinking maybe end of year or something where these could really go crazy. But I think Sword and Shield, the hype in the skyrocketing of prices, I think we're sort of over that as of right now. So that's all I want to talk about here, just my opinions. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.